Hi everyone, Alj Marco here, General Manager of the world's largest online sports handicapping website in the world, VegasSportsAdvisors.com, with your Wednesday video report. 3 complimentary plays coming your way in college basketball. I'm on a red hot roll in college hoops, FYI. I'm going for winning day number 15 out of 21 today. And my best bets, my highest rated plays, I won again last night with Arkansas. And I've got another best bet going tonight, number 9 out of 10 on Penn State and Maryland. So let's talk about the plays, however, that are close to being best bets. And free picks I've always historically done very well with. Did I go 0-3 with them last night? Absolutely. But the bottom line is I generally do extremely well with the free picks, as you will see in every single sport. And the reason is this. The free picks are the picks that I'm not using myself, the games that I'm not betting, the games I'm not releasing to customers. Because for one reason or other, they're just slightly flawed. So I always say they're the best of the worst. They could have been the best bet. They could have been the game that I put my money on, but they weren't for one reason or another. But that often leads to them having tremendous success as well. So let's get it started. I'm going with Cleveland State minus the 14 in Horizon League play tonight against Youngstown. Listen, I like to concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least. The Big West, the West Coast Conference, Conference USA, the Horizon League. They have just been consistent money makers for me all season. In the Horizon League, the upper echelon teams have just been hard to beat at home. In Cleveland State, no difference. They're 4-0 so far at home in conference play, beating up Wisconsin Green Bay, who up until a week ago was tied atop the Horizon League with Valpo, Cleveland State, but they beat the Phoenix 76-62 at home in their last game. They won at Youngstown State in the first meeting back on January 17, 74-61. The Penguins, and I'm sorry, it just doesn't seem manly enough to have a men's college basketball team in Division I ball called the Penguins. Chippewas I can see, Broncos I can see, Explorers I can see. Penguins just doesn't seem right. Anyway, they're coming off a 96-80 home loss to Oakland on Sunday. They're 1-9 in conference play. Their last road game, they gave up 93 points at Detroit. So 93 and 96 points they've given up in their last 2 games, which is no big surprise because they've given up at least 70 points in all but one of their league games this season. So I'm going to go with Cleveland State minus the 14 points. I'm going to take a shot with Davidson. There is another team that has made me a hell of a lot of money this season. The Wildcats are coming off a 2-game road trip. They blew a big lead and then won by 7 in overtime at George Mason. They blew a big lead and then lost 75-70 at St. Joe's on Saturday. But now they're back home. Last time they lost a game, they lost by 26 points at Richmond when the Spiders were in revenge a couple of weeks ago. They rebounded by coming home, taking on Dayton, a Flyers team that had won 8 in a row, and they hammered them by 17 points. Prior loss, they lost to VCU. They came back home. They beat up St. Louis 89-54. Before that, remember when they lost to VCU? Or no, they lost to Virginia. They lost to Virginia earlier this season in a non-conference game. They then had their inaugural Atlantic 10 game. They hosted Richmond. They beat up the Spiders by 14 points. And go back early in the season. When they lost to North Carolina, they rebounded the next game. Crushed Central Florida 95-69. 4 losses, 4 straight up wins to follow, 4 ATS wins. I'll lay the 8 points against St. Bonnie. St. Bonnie is coming off a 66-56 home loss to LaSalle as a 3-point favorite on Saturday. Lost their prior game at Rhode Island, 53-48. Game before that, they barely won at Duquesne, 197. And the game before that on the road, they got hammered at Richmond by 19 points. So they've lost 2 of their last 3 Atlantic 10 road games. Even though they've got 4 double-digit scores and they like to play a little bit of up-tempo and they can definitely run the floor with Davidson, and although the Wildcats, that's Davidson, are still without their leading scorer, Jake Gibbs, who remains out. He's averaging 16 points a game. I think Davidson rebounds playing at home. Well, let's face it, as all those years they went to the Southern Conference, they were a dominant team playing at home, and I like them in this spot. Final play is going to be on Texas minus the 6 in Big 12 action tonight at home. Listen, Texas Longhorns have lost 3 straight games. They are 2-5 in their last 7, and it's all league play. They have to win this game here tonight because they're playing themselves right out of a potential Big Dance berth that looked all but assured 4 weeks ago. Longhorns have lost 3 in a row. Granted, they've all come against ranked teams, Baylor, Kansas, and Iowa State, but the problem is their defense has collapsed. After yielding an average of just 56.3 points a game in the first 18 games of the season, they're now allowing 82.3 in the last 3. Guys, I'll do the math for you. That's a 26-point per game increase. Problem with the Texas Longhorns is they've got all these big guys up front. I think it's Cameron Ridley and Jonathan Holmes, and they've got the freshman Miles Turner. And these guys are patrolling the paint, but they're more than willing to step out and shoot all these three-pointers. I just don't get it. I don't know if it's the point guard who missed 10, 11 games with a broken wrist, Isaiah Taylor, who's now playing himself back into midseason form, not getting them the ball inside. They're not getting the open looks. I don't know what it is, but Rick Barnes better solve the problem, because when you have those big, beefy guys up front, you got to let them dominate down low, draw the fouls, and that's how you're going to win the games. And I think that's going to be the recipe for success here tonight, because the Oklahoma State Cowboys are 0-4 on the road. Now, granted, they did beat the Longhorns in Stillwater earlier this season. But again, I think Texas is a must-win situation. And I'm going to go with them in this spot in revenge tonight, -6 at home. Good luck, everybody, and I will catch you again here on Roku and over at VegasSportsAdvisors.com on Thursday. Good luck, win some money, and I'll talk to you then.